Hi, everyone. Welcome to my class. Um, Hope you can hear me. If not, let me know in the chat. You can also I'm going to do a presentation for the class, and this is something you can just sit back and listen to and enjoy. And at the end, there'll be an opportunity to ask questions. So I'm just letting people in. And I'm gonna start the presentation. And please mute yourself. I'm actually gonna also mute people. Yeah, so just mute yourself so there's no outside noise. Let me know if you cannot hear me, or you can hear me. You can just drop a chat in the chat button and say hello. I welcome everyone to this class. I'm really excited. And yeah, you're welcome to turn your video off or on. Probably gonna see you for a while. I'm just gonna record this presentation. And then at the end, we'll have a chance to chat if you have any questions. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay. So, yeah, this class is about how to find a healthy, lasting love. And basically, I'm going to share a number one key to finding a good partner. Well, good is kind of like a, subjective word. Oh, so how long? It's an hour. We might say longer if there are more questions, but I plan for an hour for this. So, but basically, how to find, a lot of people ask me like, how to find someone who can they build a healthy relationship with. So this is what this class is about, how to basically do this partner selection process to maximize your chances to find somebody you can have a very healthy, loving relationship with. Because a lot of people, struggle with that. It's not easy. So just a little introduction about myself. So I'm not gonna know many of you. So nice to meet you, although I didn't see you. It's hard for me to connect. Actually, I do know some people, but I am a licensed psychotherapist. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, licensed in California. I've been practicing and seeing clients since 2013. So, coming on to 10 years, which is really exciting. Next year, I'm going to have a big celebration. I'm originally from Belarus. So I speak Russian. I would say about half of my clients are also Russian speaking, but I'll also see quite a bit of American clients. So that's why I'm doing this presentation in English, because I do see American, European clients. So kind of wide range of people. And I have been married for 8 years. We've been together for 11. So I have quite a bit of experience in this area personally with my own relationship. And fun fact about me, I love going to Burning Man. And we actually met with my husband at Burning Man in 2011. So kind of fun fact about our love story. We have 2 kids together, and things I like to do for fun: exercise, yoga, hikes in nature, and singing karaoke. So just let me know if you can hear me. So sometimes it's hard to know since I don't have any feedback, but I hope you can hear me well. Just let me know in the chat. Just muted myself by accident. Wow. Okay. Next slide. So, my relationship success story. So the reason I'm doing this workshop, I'm a therapist and I focus quite a bit on relationships and intimacy. And you know how therapists usually become therapists to help themselves, right? And the reason I kind of focus on relationship and intimacy is that because I struggle so much with this. And if you have met me in my 20s, you would probably be like, oh my God, this person, crazy. She's unable to have relationships. And it was pretty obvious. I had a kind of disorganized attachment style. I'm going to talk about attachment styles a little later. But I had this huge fear of intimacy. I was dating kind of casually, but I was just unable to create like a deep intimacy and connection with someone. Yeah, and I was selecting this emotionally unavailable partner. So I don't know if you're in a dating scene and you might resonate with this. I was just kind of finding this partners who were not available, and I didn't know why. And I'm gonna explain how it works a little later. But it's basically I was just a wreck. Um, so scared to be close to someone and unable to have like a committed relationship. And then I found therapy and started my therapy journey when I was about 25. And after 2 years of therapy, I met my husband and we created a classic anxious avoidant combination. And again, let me know, there's so many people here, I don't know your history. Let me know just if you know something about attachment on that, because I'm going to talk about it kind of as a main foundation for relationships. And even after being married and being committed in the relationship, I realized that a lot of relationships just lack that emotional intimacy and connection and depth that I wanted. And we also lack that. So it's only like in 2019 when I did my training in attachment work and attachment theory, I realized that, oh my God, if people knew this piece, if they just knew what I've learned in this training and what I've been practicing since in my own life and clients, people would just have such an easier time with relationships. Like, why don't you know this? This information that I'm going to share with you in the class really should be like taught in schools as a foundation for a relationship, because it's such a key into the relationship. Like everybody should know this. So that's why I'm passionate about sharing this information, because learning this did help me to change my relationships tremendously. And go ahead and mute yourself. I'm having a little bit of a feedback, so I'm guessing someone might not be muted. And right now, after doing all this work, I became such a, like in myself, I'm so confident that I have this ability to create healthy, loving relationships that, you know, God forbid if something happened, even in my marriage, which I don't want to, I want to stay married forever to this man, but I just know myself that after doing this work, I'm capable of choosing someone healthy because I became healthy inside, and I'm capable of creating this deep intimacy in my life. So whether or not, you know, it's with my partner or someone else, I just know that, great, you can hear that I have this. And that's what I want people to really do for themselves. Like have this ability in yourself that you can, that you just know for sure that you got this, that you can create healthy, loving relationships in your life. And honestly, you know, creating a great relationship is not easy. So I put it like, it's not easy, but so worth it. It's not really a fairy tale like we talk in the movies, right? Like something that kind of just happens. I actually hate this romanticized fairy tale movie kind of script where two people just magically meet and they fall in love and everything is great and they die happily ever after. That just doesn't work in my experience in real life. And if we have this idea that that's how it should be, we're up for a lot of disappointments, because my belief is if you don't work on your relationship, it's just not going to be that great. Relationships require constant work. And if you're in the process of choosing a partner, doing this inner work now can set you up for a great success in your future relationship. Because right now, you can do this work that I'm going to talk to you about, and you will change your inner script so you can select this partner who's healthy, who's emotionally available, who is committed, who's just there for you. It's all going to depend on how you do your inner work. So for me, again, it's something relationship struggle so much in this, and even in the marriage, we've done so much therapy and so much work, both ourselves and in relationship, to come to this place where I'm finally feeling like, okay, my relationship now is something I can come back to as my safe haven. It's something I don't have to worry about it, but I just can come back to it and feel this deep connection and intimacy and closeness and peace. Just I can relax into it. And this is what secure attachment is all about, that I'm going to talk about. Next slide. And if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. So please mute yourself. I'm just gonna just chat. Yeah, you can just go ahead and mute yourself. Okay, so I'm gonna get right to it. The title of this class is #1 key to kind of selecting a healthy partner. And I'm just gonna give you this information right away, is that #1 key of how healthy relationships are created, it's yours and your partner attachment style. So yeah, that's right. It's so worth it, right? So I don't know, like maybe put in comments if you're familiar with attachment at all or not, because it's basically how this blueprint of our relationship is created. It's so interesting that we know about attachment. Actually, in psychology, we kind of know about attachment. We've known about attachment for some time, but in the latest years, it's really been more and more research about how this is it. Like this is the key to creating a healthy, loving relationship. It's really developing secure attachment in yourself and with your partner that's going to give you this peaceful, no drama, a steady connection and intimacy that you can fall back to and just feel like your partner got your back, your partner is there for you, and you're emotionally connected and close. And attachment is something that's developed very early in life, and that's why it's coded very deep in our unconscious. It's actually, there has been different numbers. I've heard between a year and 18 months. So, but basically by 18 months of life, we already have a coding about how we're going to relate to others. And that's like, that's pre-verbal stage. That's so deeply, that's very deep coding in our unconscious. That's already going to determine our romantic relationships. And I find it fascinating that's how early we coded with that. And attachment system is really our original blueprint for how we perceive and relate to others and the world around us. That's Diane Keller is a attachment researcher, and I love her work. I use a lot of her. She has like a free quiz, so she has a great website too. Okay, familiar. Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's right. It's it's really, that's where it's at. Attachment is really everything. So if you know about attachment, let me know in comments what kind of attachment you have. I assume that most of us who struggle with relationships don't have secure attachment style, because basically attachment, that probably the people who have secure attachment style probably just don't worry about it. They just don't worry about like relationships. The relationship is easy for them. The connection is easy. Oh, hi Anna, can you mute yourself? You just popped up into my screen. So they just don't worry about being abandoned, or they don't worry about someone getting close to them. With the secure attachment, it's just easy. The intimacy is safe. It's easy to connect. They don't feel unloved. It's just really they don't get so triggered in relationship. That's why, honestly, for a lot of us, that seems like, oh, okay. So some say it's avoidant. Yeah. So it just really kind of secures where we going, right? It's where we're striving to be. And with secure attachment style, they can really co-regulate easily. So, okay, Anna, I keep having you popping as unmute, so I don't know what's going on, but if you can mute yourself, that'd be helpful. Thank you. So with, again, with secure attachment, they are very comfortable asking for what they want, for what they need. They have this confidence about themselves that they deserve to have their needs met, and they resolve conflict pretty easily. So they don't take things personally. They're just very confident and steady in their self-view. And they don't really blame or shame others. It's just really, they kind of really nice to be around. And unfortunately, if we have insecure attachment style, we actually don't select secure partners for dating, because we will always select partners based on our own attachment style. And that's why it's the key, because we will just filter them out. So that's to say, if we inside have unhealthy attachment style, we will never see healthy, secure attached people. We'll just filter them out as they're not interesting, or they're not, somehow we won't see them. So this is, I find this fascinating, how we create our own reality based on how our inner reality is created. So lucky, secure people, right? Never have to worry about relationships. They are confident in relationships. They're confident in dating. They're not the people who are going to obsess about the other partner and getting back to them. And they just, they give and receive affection very easily, and they ask and give comfort and love to partners, and from partners, and receive love and comfort from partners also very easily, and without just much hurt. There's just not much wounding there, which is, you know, great for them. Okay, so for the rest of us, so a lot of, you know, healthy attachment style is created when your caregiver, usually your mother, is very valuable. She's emotionally warm. She is not confused with her inner world, right? Like, she doesn't have to like worry, you know, she's just very resourced. And unfortunately, what I see in people who come from the kind of ex-USSR realm, that's just not the world we experience. That's why I believe we might have more insecurely attached people in kind of post-USSR countries, because we are generation only, our parents only second generation after war. So our parents still were very affected by war trauma. And trauma is what prevents you from giving your children this healthy gift of attachment, because your trauma makes your nervous system dysregulated. you can't really process your own emotions, and therefore you can't be and help your child process your own emotions. You can't contain your child. You're not emotionally attuned, and a lot of times that's what I see with my clients from post-USSR countries, but also in America, um, who come to me because secure attached people don't come to me. They might have parents who've been just really affected by various traumas and who haven't received this nurturing themselves, and so they're unable to give this nurturing to their children. And then what happens is that insecure attachment style develops. And we have three insecure attachment styles. They're anxious, fearful, avoidant, and avoidant. Fearful avoidant is also called disorganized, which is a combination of two. And so for anxious, I actually had a combination of two. So, what a fun kind of thing, not, but it's basically when you have both sides. But let's talk about anxious a little bit. So maybe you will find, I'm curious, like how many can sense that that's their attachment style, because anxious is when you tend to focus on, it's also called preoccupied, and you tend to focus on the other person a lot. It's like, it's very hard for you to sense yourself. So like I work with women and they tell me like, I just can't stop obsessing about like the state I went. And like, I keep like checking my phone, and I keep wanting them to like email me or text me back, and I just get so anxious and insecure on dates. And so that's when we focus so much on the other person that we forget about ourselves. We don't feel ourselves. We just want them to like us. We want them to love us. And we forget about, okay, so, but how I am feeling, how am I feeling? How am I, you know, feeling, or what am I experiencing? So anxious attachment style, people with this style tend to be extremely empathetic. So it's like, so I have this as my primary style, and my partner comes into the room and I can like feel his feelings. I don't know if you had this experience, but I'm like so attuned to his emotions. And that's because I've learned as a child that in order for me to have my needs met, I need to kind of scan the environment and sense how my mom is. And then I can kind of figure out if she's available to give me, nurturance or not. So now it's like my radar is always focused on my partner instead of like being focused on myself. And what I'm learning to do is to always come back to myself. Like, okay, how am I doing? And in my youth and in my 20s, I tend to end relationships too quickly. I don't know if like some of you, I assume most of you are dating or in the process of this partner selection. So maybe you can recognize that I will be the one who's gonna like end relationships. So if I feel like, oh, this person's kind of maybe not fully, I don't know, if there's something's off, I'll be like, okay, that's it, I'm out. So I'll be basically like pulling away and ending in the relationship soon, so I don't become abandoned. I would rather be the one who abandons. And this is the type that clings to healthy relationships if there's a fear of being alone. So I don't know about you again, but I meet a lot of people in my practice who just stay in unhealthy relationships, and pretty clear that it's unhealthy, but they're just so terrified of being alone, and they feel like they really so need this person. They're just unable to really change it and say and recognize it and leave. And this is, this people with anxious attachment style, usually we have issues with self-esteem and confidence, and it's hard for us to show up in dating like really confident and like owning our power. Just more like this worry, this anxiety about how the other person's going to perceive me. So there's this constant over focus on the other. So they need a lot of reassurance to build trust, and kind of keep reminding them of their value and self-esteem. I'm just gonna check. Yeah, so somebody said, yeah, end relationships too, right? It's like, oh no, I'd rather be the one who ends it instead of the pain of being left is so great. It's so difficult that I'll be like, no, at least I'll end it. So I won't experience this pain of being abandoned. That was just the worst. And I remember even when I started dating my husband, we had a thing, we had like a disagreement, and I just wanted to run. I was already in therapy, and I remember I came to my therapist and I was like, I want to end this. This is not working. And she's like, okay, tell me what it is. And she walked me how to actually have a conversation about it. And I was terrified. And I'm so glad I did, because this beautiful 11-year relationship wouldn't have happened, because I would be like, that's it, I'm done, I'm out. So thanks God for therapy, right? And for our ability to change our patterns. But it was just so hard. So yeah, this one I see a lot of clients with this type, because they tend to recognize that there's a lot of difficulty and a lot of anxiety and insecurity in dating. So this is the type that tends to suffer a lot. So that's why they come to therapy and tend to seek out therapy, which is great. I think it's a great skill. So avoidant, something I also had, it's called also have dismissive. I actually tend to think that in America, this is like the favorite, like favorite, how do I say it? Favored attachment style, because in America, it's like a culture of being like independent and self-sufficient and not needing anyone. And this is the type that feels like that. I also had traits of avoidant, and I really felt like I don't need relationships, like this intimacy, whatever. Ooh, sorry about that. I was just like, I just don't need anyone. I am a strong, independent, successful woman. I was working in New York, on Wall Street, and I was just like, that relationships and intimacy, that's for weak people. Strong people like me don't need that stuff. Ha ha ha. Very funny. Because behind that was a very deep need to be in connection and in love and in intimacy. But there was also a great fear of that. And that's what avoidant attachment style deals with. They tend to isolate and feel more relaxed alone. So if you feel like it's easier for you to regulate your emotions, so you have a partner, you've dated people who like, oh no, I need a break, I need to go and like climb into a cave and be by myself to regulate, that's avoidant attachment style. Because in healthy relationship, we tend to co-regulate and help each other to become calm. So partners with secure attachment, they tend to help each other to move through difficult emotions. They're there for each other, so there's this like safety and connection. For avoidant, it's unsafe. So unfortunately, usually like in childhood, they've been probably their needs haven't been met, and so they have this coding that intimacy is unsafe, and it's not safe to ask for support and be vulnerable, because they won't be adequately met and nurtured. So it's very difficult for them to ask for support. So usually more men have, not like, maybe it's like not accurate statement, but in couples that I've seen, that's usually more male behavior. But like I said, I also have traits of avoidant. So I think a lot of women have that as well, especially I noticed like I wrote a post on Facebook the other day, but I have some clients who like they're high power executive and CEOs and startup owners, and they tend to be very strong and independent and self-sufficient, and sometimes that those are the same traits that actually prevent them from being really intimate in relationship, because intimacy is built on vulnerability, and being able to show your weaknesses and your softer spots to your partner, and not feeling like we can shame you, well, for knowing that you're safe with your partner. But you also, of course, have to choose a partner who can handle your vulnerability, who is also in touch with their own vulnerability, which is a secure, attached person. And again, I'm gonna mention how to find a secure attachment person. So basically, my advice: if you're dating right now, your job is to find a secure attached person, and you'll be good in your relationship. That's a, you know, you know, there's also compatibility issue and all that, but for creating a healthy, loving relationship, that's what you want. So in avoidant type, they tend to kind of like shut down and find difficult to talk about emotions. So I remember my husband's used to be more on the avoidance scale, and I would ask him about like, okay, how do you feel? And he'd be like, okay. He had like two answers. He would feel okay, fine, and okay, and those were two answers about his emotional state. So they tend to be like not, kind of shut down emotionally. So also when you date, if you're dating, you can screen out for people who just not like. Sometimes they appear very calm, but a lot of times they just actually like shut down emotionally, and a lot of times they experience the stress, but they're not showing it. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about that. Yeah, how do you actually select one if you yourself is not secure? How do you select a secure attached partner when you're not secure? Okay, so maybe I can move into that. So just a couple more things about avoidant. They tend to be very critical in a relationship, and this is something really hard to work with someone who's critical. It's very strong protection against vulnerability, and so again, that's something I would screen out in dating process, because that's one of the things that creates a lot of difficulties later on. And sometimes people with avoidant attachment style, they seek sex for reassurance, or not for like reassurance, but they don't like, they sublimate their emotional needs into sexual ones. So they kind of use sex for create connections, instead of like opening up and talking about emotions. So that's one trait that they have. But of course, they want to connect. It's just that deep inside, they do want to connect. It's just been so unsafe that they haven't had a chance to learn that they can open up and be vulnerable and talk about their emotional experiences in a safe place. And so the final one is the kind of combination of the two. So like I said, I think that a lot of us from post-USSR countries have this one because our parents have experienced so much trauma. Basically, if parents have a lot of trauma, that's what we're going to develop. It's kind of like this unpredictable environment. So we tend to like still be fearful and preoccupied with others, but we also have trust issues and maintain distance from others. So yeah, that's basically, if you have traits of both, that's what you have. That's the fearful avoidance. So maybe I'll move on in talking about this, but you can ask questions. This is basically the key if you dating or even in a relationship, just find out your attachment style and learn what your attachment style of the partner is, and or like I said, when you're dating, learn about yourself. What is your attachment style? So yeah, so how does this partner selection work? So basically, once we develop this attachment style, we will tend to attract unconsciously, because consciously we'll want healthy, secure partner. But unfortunately, our partner selection process is not a conscious choice. Like I said, we will actually filter out this partners who are healthy and available, and we will only see partners who remind us of our caregivers. So because this blueprint, this attachment wiring is so deep in unconscious, it just works automatically. You don't even realize it. You just find yourself selecting, you just find yourself being attracted to partners who are actually not good for you, who will recreate the same experiences you had in childhood. And there's just, it's frustrating because really there's not much we can do about it because of the power of the unconscious. I mean, I'm going to talk about what we can do about it, but it's unless you know this information. That's why I find this, like, educating people about this is so critical, because unless you know this, you're just going to repeat the same patterns your parents had and you had in childhood, right? So you're just going to select a partner, and people in therapy, they're like, oh, my partner is just like my mom or my dad, or they're just doing exactly the same thing. Yeah, well, of course, because that's how it works. That's how psychology works, and we are, that's so our unconscious is basically determines our experience. Oh, and by the way, I was gonna also mention that for avoidant, a lot of times they tend to not seek out therapy. So if you ever felt like, I'm gonna figure it out on my own, and I'm just gonna like learn about this and figure out it myself, that could be also a sign of avoidant, because it's very difficult to ask for help or even admit that there's something that they struggle with or need, and so they're just like, no, I'm good. I'll just figure it out. So it's an interesting trait that avoidant people with avoidant attachment style, they actually seek out therapy less, unless they realize this. So yeah, this blueprint. So what can we do about this, right? Basically, oh yeah, this is what I've talked about it. Like basically we'll filter out, yeah, and you know how some people, I've heard it from some women, they say, well, there's just no available men out there, and they're just, men are so immature and they're so emotionally unavailable, and they're all jerks. Or some men say, well, I only need this like cold women, or I only need this women who like need saving, this damsel in distress archetype that's like just needy. And I'm like, well, it's not that there are no good men out there or no good women out there. It's just that you're filtering them out because you're because of your coding, because of your insecure attachment style. Yeah, and you won't see them. And other people with more secure attachment style, they'll be like, there's plenty of good men here, or good women. There's everything in this world. There's tons of healthy potential partners. It's just unless we change it inside, we're not gonna see it. So what do we actually do about it, right? That's what we're here for. I guess you want to know how to change this. Oh, and please mute yourself. I've heard.
Hi, Miriam. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Okay. All right. So the answer, right? What do we do ourselves? But really, The only way to change this is to change your blueprint and rewire your own attachment system to secure, to by becoming a loving, supportive parent to oneself. So basically, you need to change your inner wiring and your blueprint if you wanna, if you want this to work effortlessly. I guess in the meanwhile, while you're doing this, you could also learn about attachment styles and kind of, if you're dating, you could, use your mind to assess where this partner is, securely attached or not. However, this is kind of like, interim solution and might not work long term because a secure attached partner, they also won't be attracted to insecurely attached partner. It just like feels kind of off, like what's up with this person, like what's the problem? Because it's a match of systems, and really this really you can, and it's not easy process. It's maybe going to take you 6 months, a year, 2 years, I don't know, but you can change your blueprint and rewire your attachment system to create secure attachment with yourself, and becoming this, so uncovering this deeper attachment wounds and becoming a loving, supportive parent to yourself, creating like this this secure attachment within yourself first. And, working with therapists is recommended because this is a relationship wounding, and you can't heal by yourself what been damaged, what been wounded in relationships. It's a relational process. So a lot of times, like a therapist or coach or mentor, someone becomes that a secure attachment figure for you, and then you take it inside, you internalize this relationship. And the other recommendation, so my recommendation would be like learn about attachment system, figure out your attachment style, find someone to work with to rewire your attachment system, and also use some tools to go deeper into that conscience. So like I said, because this is such a deep coding, a lot of therapy, like talk therapy, is like conscious mind talking, right? And that's why I find that some people like frustrated that it's slow or just talking, because it doesn't access this deeper layers. Like if you see this Freud, analogy that all the wounding is like down here at the bottom of this iceberg, right? It's not in this conscious mind that's like blah blah blah. I'm good. I don't have a problem. So, I would recommend using some tools like, it can be like, I'm personally a big fan of like using psychedelics for going deeper into your subconscious and conscious, using hypnosis or meditations or visualizations. But basically try to get as deep as you can into yourself to uncover those patterns, because they are very deep. And what you can do, so you're rewiring your attachment style can take time and effort. The results are so worth it. And for those of you who like saying, okay, I really want to do this work, I'm ready, I want to create this a healthy, loving relationship in 2023. I also have a program that's coming up in January, that it's a 5-month program that we're going to do exactly this. So we're going to do exactly this work that I told you about. It's a 3 Zoom calls per month. So it's a lot of interactions with me and guidance, constant support on chat, kind of one-on-one session per month. So that's basically 5 months deep healing work that you can do if you like, I'm ready, I wanna do this. And I have a process for this. So exactly how to change this rewiring of yourself. And we're going to do in-person deep healing retreat in Bay Area to start probably like in January, February, to uncover those patterns right away, and then we're going to work on this and change your attachment style into a healthy one. So, and I'm a big fan of using this depth-oriented techniques to access the unconscious. So yeah, that's a great next step. If you're feeling like you want to do this work, if it's resonating and you're like, yeah, you know, I wanna address this in my life, then and I wanna, I put this as a, you know, I work with this so much, and the client stories and successes like really touch my heart deeply. It's I just put like three just recent stories that they have a client who healed his attachment wounds, and after being with an available partner, he actually left that partner and found a very healthy, emotionally available one. Well, actually, yeah, the healing work that we did really helped him to find someone who's emotionally available, and he's much happier in this relationship. I also had clients in their 50s and 60s who, after like 20, 30, 40 years of unhealthy relationships, finally found a healthy relationship. And that just brings tears to my eyes to see people who are in their 60s finally creating healthy relationships. It's just like, to me, that's mind blowing. And I just applaud those deep, courageous souls who are doing this work at 60. So it's never too late. And and I found and this another client. So actually, this is interesting that he was able to move through his fear of intimacy and open his heart in a new relationship. Yeah. So I work with men quite a bit, and helping them to move through fear and intimacy and really open his heart and uh, literally let go of partners that are not good for them and choosing partners that are that they want, actually. So I work with men as well. This program that I mentioned, the one that I'm going to start in January, actually, I'm thinking that's for to be a women only program, and with men, I work individually. So again, it's 5 months. All right, and yeah, if you're ready to do the next step, I'm gonna put this in the chat, but you can go ahead and book a call with me, and we'll talk about your attachment style, basically your goals for relationship. I'm gonna take it further, apply it to you. And I'm gonna, you know, if you're interested, we can also talk about the program, but we can also just connect and I can help you take this information and apply it into your life. And the calls, I'm only gonna do it next week. So if you wanna, it's probably limited. I only have like 3, maybe 5 maximum spots. So if you wanna go ahead and book it, then I can talk to you more on one-on-one. And that's how you do that through that link that I posted in chat. Okay, I'm gonna turn the recording off and you're welcome to ask questions. Okay, and I'm gonna stop sharing. Oh, I didn't turn the recording off. Okay, I'm gonna turn it off. Thank you so much for listening and staying with me all this time. Oh my goodness. Thank you.